Okay, so this is Project 5, it's Task 2, which looks at practical skills and progress log. Now, I know we're talking about co-create for this, and there was kind of several developments of pieces and things, but thinking back to kind of when the project was first launched, which was November, what sort of things were you doing at that point? What was your involvement?
Initially, there wasn't much for me to be doing until obviously the pieces had been created. So it was a case of me just having a look at what would happen at the York St John's venue. So I had a look on their website.
Right.
It's a proscenium arch feeder and it has really good acoustics, so volume will really travel. Though it does have one downside, which is like the wing space is very liminal.
Right.
Meaning like there's just not enough. So I was thinking, because one of our pieces has a lot of blackouts and cuts, whether it would just be worth blacking out one side and leaving the other side lit up, and when it comes back to the other side, we open up back on with the light on one stage left and right.
But that was obviously later once
That was
the piece
later on,
was first set. So initial research was done on the website. You looked on the website and you saw that the performance venue had a curved back wall, which, like you say, gave great acoustics. What were the things that you took away from that in terms of like the involvement of sound design?
That hopefully headset mics wouldn't be as necessary as I first thought. If it's got that good acoustics, the voices of whoever's on stage, as long as they project towards audience, should travel.
Yeah. Okay. And were there any kind of initial, when you looked at the space, because we know from looking at the website that it is all wooden, as kind of a curved wall at the back, and there's wood paneling and things. What did that, if any, give you suggestions towards colour choices, or was that something that you didn't go near until you had a clear idea of what the pieces?
That was something I didn't go near until I knew what the pieces would be.
So kind of progressing forward, you had that initial research which you did online on the website, and then the pieces started emerging.
Okay.
What kind of key characteristics would you say were in the extended piece, and then what were in the level 3 first year piece?
The extended piece was one cohesive piece with no blackouts, no stops. So I thought it would be Apologies, can you repeat the question?
So what key characteristics, as we're starting to progress through the kind of developmental processes, were you seeing emerge in the extended piece? I'll just start with that one if you like.
Was that it was coercive, there was no blackouts. Cohesive, sorry. It was cohesive and it was continuing on, it would go straight into the next part.
And did they have like one art form they were putting in there? Were there multiple art
there was
forms?
different disciplines of dance, drama, singing, vocals and instruments.
And then the level 3 piece, the level 3 first year piece, how was that piece progressing as they were working on it?
Initially it was a case of a lot of blackouts and cuts, and I think it was commedia dell'arte. Very stereotypical pantomime.
Okay. And was that one piece that it decided at that point?
There was 3 pieces from level 3. There was 2 dance pieces as well initially, and they all linked into each other, though I believe initially there was blackouts between.
Right. Okay, and then at the end, maybe it's the week or 2 weeks before we actually went to York St John, had the pieces changed from that kind of mid-section where, there were multiple pieces, or there was one piece which had multiple disciplines in?
Yeah, very, very much so.
Change. So what was your involvement at that point?
It was to essentially it was to make sure that it didn't have too many blackouts. So for the main commedia dell'arte middle piece, we decided to go on half the stage right lit when obviously characters were talking stage right, and blackout for them go up stage left, so that there wouldn't be so much constant blackouts.
Right. Okay, so that was on your plan.
Yeah.
And then did it start with that? Did it start with a dance piece? Were the 3 sections separate? Were they together? How did their whole piece run?
After 2 weeks before we went.
Yes.
Yeah.
So just before we jump on the bus to go to York, like what was the level 3 piece structure?
The plan was to have a dance piece go into Commedia dell'arte and then Commedia dell'arte lead straight into the next dance piece.
So what were your lights like for the trio starting dance piece to the more panto-esque piece into the solo dance piece?
For the first piece, we had a lot of just like, it was very pop, like I think the songs were like very pop heavy and very like modern music, and I had them very colourful and flashy and like just generally fitting the vibe with lots of like purples and like reds and whites just to make it very stroby and nice.
Okay. And what sort of lights did you go for? Types of lights?
Like the makes, sorry. We had, I believe I had my moving heads at one point for the first dance, and we had them just fleeing about.
Try and talk technical terms if we
We
can.
had them on a circle effect.
Right.
And we had our LED parkans that are set above our stage, just had them just on strobe effect.
Right. And you linked them up to the beat of the music?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to listen and try the best I could use the speed to
Okay.
control this.
And then
effect.
did that continue into the Peter Pan piece?
The Peter Pan piece was just a lot of bass washes on the stage right and left. The only effect that I can think of is once Captain Hook is pushed into the water where we use the splash sound effect, I'd have like a splashy water, like bright white strobe come up quick and then back down.
Okay. And then following that, you had the solo dance piece. How were the lights for that one?
I talked to the creator of that piece and they said they didn't want anything too flashy, so I just went with a base red wash pretty much,
Right.
and with a few white like beats throughout.
Okay. And for the extended diploma piece, again, before we got to York St John, what was your plan, your lighting plan for that piece?
A lot of it was very like low and sad songs in a way, I want to say. I had a lot of blues and purple washes. A lot of it was that. A lot of face light for, we had a certain part where a student came up and did a monologue.
Yeah.
I had them obviously face lit well, along with a moving head map on the piano, so that the vocalist, that's pianist, was seen. And we had a big one towards the end. We have another monologue with the person who talks about it becoming happy and a little bit of glitter in the grey, which made me go into a nice warm wash and continue the end of the piece with a nice warm.
Okay. So you're using kind of markers in the piece to establish different lighting states and changes to the lighting states.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so what you've done is you've told us about how you've developed different skills in thinking about what the lights need to be, what you've got accessible to you. You've researched to know about the space.
Yeah.
You've then applied that research and the knowledge and the skills to be able to devise lighting plans, and you've tested them out in our college theatre. You've talked about different points of the pieces developing and how that influenced developments you were making in your lighting plans. What do you think kind of that process has allowed you to do in terms of becoming a lighting operator? You know, how we haven't had a piece earlier on. Does that reflect what it's like to be a lighting operator? Has it challenged you?
I feel like in the industry, it's a case of a lot of stuff can just come at you quickly and just quick changes. Like, for instance, can I talk about our in-house pantomime?
Yes.
With our in-house pantomime, at the start of the week, we have one performance, and towards the end, completely different, with new scenes in, different things, different jokes. So a lot of changes can be thrown at you quick. So adapting and watching and receiving whatever is put out in front of you and just adapting upon that.
Okay. So you've recorded your blog there because we've picked out key aspects. Yeah. So that is task 2B done.